Good afternoon, everyone.
Hi.
Myself is Ajit Manjure from CDSL. I am heading Investor Education Department of CDSL, and I am very happy to be here with for a webinar with HDFC Bank and HDFC Securities. Today we have a distinguished guest from HDFC Securities Private Equity Group Head, Mr. V.K. Sharma, whom all of you know. He is regularly appearing on various news channels, financial news channels, and today most of the investors are confused. When the Sensex and Nifty are doing regular tracking a new high every day, so how to invest in such a market? That is the question for most of the investors. So we requested Mr. Sharma to guide the investors on how to invest in such a scenario. So without taking much of your time, I would like Mr. Sharma to guide us. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Majure. We've been together on several CDSL and BSC events, and it's always a pleasure to listen to you regarding the ways in which the investors can use the Demat account apart from the equities. So you can use it for insurance and other products also, which you can, if you want, you can speak to them.
Right.
But friends, my main objective today, in order to tell you, is that the basic question which I come across when I visit various branches and when investors speak to me either on television or on phone or on here in personal meetings, the one question that they usually ask is that the markets are at an all-time high. Does it make sense to invest at this point of time? Shall we wait to invest? This, sir, is the basic problem of investors.
Right.
No doubt, this is an all-time high. We are at an all-time high. Give or take 50 points, 9,500 plus we have closed today. The highest that we have ever seen a week before was 9,532. Now, although this is a high, let me put it in perspective. Sir, between 2008, the past high of the Nifty was 6,357. It was attained on January 8, 2008. From that level of 6,357, assuming the current high that you have seen, 9,532, gives you a return of 49%.
Okay.
On an absolute basis, 49% looks very good. But sir, it has come over a period of 9 years. So what is the can we say per annum return, compounded annual growth rate? That is a piddly 4.3%. Less than what some of the saving banks give. So also the fact that also some investors are saying that we can sell now and we can buy later. Don't commit that mistake. I'm saying don't commit that mistake primarily because if you look at the last 4 years, between 2013 and 2017, we have almost grown, our earnings have grown at a rate of just 2.7% CAGR.
Okay.
Even very well say that earnings have not grown at all. So if you were to deboard the train at this point of time, thinking that I'll get on to the Sensex Express sometimes later, it will be too late because the next 2 years, the current year of 17-18 and the next year of 18-19 is going to give an earnings growth, going to see an earnings growth of 20% per annum. So forget about getting on the train. Our advice is get on, invest fully at this point of time. When we were discussing that what is the topic that we can give, if you look at the topic, there is a word which is there, which is confident. So we said that I have no hesitations in recommending to our investors that you should confidently invest at this point of time, and I'll give you valid reasons for that. Okay, sir?
Sir, one query. Normally, when we have decided this topic, most of the queries which I got, that should we invest all the amount at what time? That is the major question which has come across.
See, there are very few people who will get whatever the money that they want to invest in one go. Most of us are salaried people. We get our salary every month. Some of the women who are not working will get some money from their brothers and sisters. Some of them who are working will get a salary also. Part-time also they will be working. So the money doesn't come in one go. At times you also get, the bonus comes in, but it is 20%, 30% of your salary. So at no point of time do we have to take a call that whether full money or invested in equities or not. But yes, if you want, I can say very clearly, sir, if anybody has a horizon of 10 years, confidently he can put in the entire amount today and forget, go to sleep. But that money has to be put in the right funds, right equity stocks, and if investor doesn't have his own study or doesn't have access to such good advice, the best option for him is to put in an index ETF. There are many things. So that is one thing that you can go, but usually investors should always invest in tranches. Right. In the sense, for instance, suppose I am asking you to buy ICICI Bank. Now ICICI Bank today is one of the stocks that has done well. It has led the BSE, the banking index also. So at this point of time, if you buy the whole amount in one go, the chances are you will make money. But if you have a 10-year horizon, buying in one go doesn't make any difference. But most of us get our money, and especially with the first step, you would like to invest in tranches. So buying and putting your money, 1/3 of that money into one particular stock at this price is okay. If you think that if it dips by 5%, I'll add another 5%, still better. And if it dips by another 5%, I'll put the rest of the money, best. The chances are the market may not give you that pleasure of buying that stock 10% down. So be it, you bought ICICI Bank and the stock has run up from that level, you are only 1/3 invested, no issues. So we'll come out with another stock. So as an investor, there is a big difference between an investor and a trader. A trader will say, if the stock has fallen, my stop loss is got triggered, you need to sell. Whereas an investor does the research first, then decides what stock to buy at what level. So these things, if they're done in a proper manner, the returns are phenomenal.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Now, another feature that I like to add, sir, at this point of time, people are asking that war can happen. People are also worried about Korea, all these things. So we've been telling investors that you will never, these are all smaller things that come about. These are uncertain things, and there is no certainty that a war will happen or not. More often than not, it doesn't happen. So if right from 1999 onwards, when we have had this issue of, when we had the Kargil war, at that point of time, when squadron leader Ahuja's plane was, let's say, shot at and it fell, from that time the market started falling. It fell for 2-3-4 days, and by the time the Kargil war ended, the markets were higher than at what time they began.
So ideally it makes temporary impact.
Temporary impact. Nothing more. So apart from that, I would also like to add to the fact that the FIIs are lacking India like anything, and people are worried about one thing is all-time high, no earnings growth as we talked about, so existing EPS PEs are high, so therefore is it right time? Yes sir, it is the right time, and you don't have to worry about that because earnings are going to follow. More importantly, India is in a very sweet spot. Look at us. Are we among the largest nations? We are an economy which is growing at the fastest pace. No doubt about it.
Yes.
And on the contrary, you have an economy, second largest economy of the world, being downgraded yesterday. China. So China has had issues right from even from 2008 onwards. But at that point of time, the GDP, sir, was at 9.6%, and today they are growing at a slower pace of 6.7%. From 9.6, they have fallen to 6.7%. And their debt to GDP, which was 160% in 2008, has now gone to 260%. So downgrade was seen coming.
Yeah.
On the contrary, you have India, in which all the things that are all the parts of the jigsaw puzzle are now falling into place. We've had a majority government.
Right.
It might seem, so what's so great? There is something great, sir. Ever since after Mrs. Gandhi's assassination, when Rajiv Gandhi was elected, his government was a majority government. After that, since 1984, India has seen a majority government only in 2013. FIs have never seen it. FIs came into India in they came in 1993, and since then they have never seen a majority government. Now, majority government means that you can take whatever decisions that are required to be taken on your own. So those decisions being taken. Also, this is the first government that we see in which the mandate, the people's mandate for the government is intact, what it was at the time of the last elections. So the UP election mandate allows me to say that it is possible to see the BJP will come back to power in the year 2019 also. So this continuity which India has never seen, we have seen UP government doing 5 years, we have seen another UP government doing 5 years, but what was the power of Congress? In UPA 1, not UPA, NDA 1, sorry, UPA 1, 2004, Congress had a measly 160 odd seats. In 2009, they went to something like, they crossed 200 level, but that is all. They will still depend upon outside parties.
So you mean to say the government which is constant in the center definitely impacts the market in the positive way?
Yes. It does impact. Yeah. It does impact. So, apart from the fact that you will see continuity, also the fact that the government has done drastically many things.
Yes.
Now, I'm not speaking from a political point of view, but from the point of view that those tough decisions which would have been otherwise not been possible to take, here is a government which has taken. One of those is the ability to shut down all your cash transactions to a greater extent. Which means that today equity is the only option where you can invest, comfortably invest, and the government gives you the liberty that if you keep invested for 1 year, the profits that you have from equities are tax-free.
Yes.
So there is it is required that our traders should become investors and take advantage of this. No tax. And therefore, because of these things, we are also going to ensure that the money which used to belong to our nani, dadi, bua, elder sister, which used to lie below the pillows, under the mattresses, is now coming into banks. And once this is now coming in, it's our responsibility to ensure that that money earns a lot. So, I'm again giving you another positive statistics that in 2016, the total quantum of our household savings that went into capital markets was just 6%. Sir, even in Harshad Mehta's time, the percentage, that is 1992, before the advent of the FIIs, 10.2% was the money of household savings going into equity.
Right.
Now, Morgan and JP Morgan and Morgan Stanley do say that there are other stories also brokers which are saying, we also said that because of the doors being shut, the amount in equity of the domestic investor will flow into such an extent that you now find the equity, the PE is very high. In fact, when we had made an internal presentation to our bank last year in Goa, we had said that get ready for high PEs. Because earnings will come later, the price will go up fast because people will be able to see. So the money that will now flow into will give the FIs a run for their money. So the domestic investors will be able to absorb that. Whatever they sell, they'll readily absorb it, which is currently happening. So with the FI money coming in and the fact that the EPS and the domestic investors money coming in, the PEs will only rise.
The other revenues also government is trying to open, like pension funds, and even the domestic institutional investors also are pouring money.
Yes.
These are the...
So all these institutions will ultimately pour some of their money into equities.
Right.
So as these institutions proliferate, I think it augurs very well for the investors.
Sir, one more view about IPOs. What do you say? Because now a lot of IPOs are coming. When market is good, a lot of IPOs try to come to the market. So what is your view on that? Should investor come by that way also? As it is, there is a growth coming in due to IPOs. But what is your view on it?
Mr. Bajure, I come from Haryana, and there is a saying that a muh dekh ke tilak karo.
Okay.
You should look at the IPO first. Look at that. What is the management? What is the business it is in? What is the valuation at which it is coming? Is there a listed entity from the same industry with a better management? Lesser price? Is it available? So we should always do this exercise. Okay? And then look at invest in only those cases where we feel that this is a good stock. And although it is a limitation that we cannot talk about IPOs in the month which they come, but after 1 month they listed, we can look at those stocks, and we recommend investors that this is a good area in which people can review so people ask us whether these I applied in this IPO, I made this much money, can I hold or shall I say book profits? So accordingly we give advice. But as an investor, this is one more opportunity coming our way, and especially if none of the existing investors which invested early are exiting and the money is going back into the equity, then it's a great IPO, other than things being equal. So we should treat each IPO as differently and look at the research and then accordingly take a decision.
Great, sir. Sir, one more thing I just wanted to again ask you, because a lot of people invest in the mutual funds nowadays and SIPs. You being a broking house, I know that you may be saying that it is always good to come into the equities directly, etc. But however, a lot of people don't know how to invest directly in equities. So what is your view on that?
We educate, we facilitate people to come directly into equity. But our advice is, as I said earlier, that people who are new and don't have their own research, I said that you should look at index ETF.
Okay.
So index ETF is a listed mutual fund, but a closed-ended mutual fund. So these are the kind of things. So when you choose an ETF, ensure that the ETF has a very less risk. Let's say the tracking error of the index of the particular ETF should be less. The charges should be less. So accordingly, you can choose one. So currently, depending upon the situation, we recommend stocks. But there's only one particular ETF, which is the Nifty ETF.
I remember you talking about Nifty Bees also in one of
Nifty Bees, yes. But BSE also has one. But there, I think liquidity is a issue concern at some time. But some point of time, whenever they act on it, I think when the liquidity improves, investors can also look at that also. But one last point that I like to point out at this juncture is that one of the things which the government has done rightly is the GST.
Okay.
Now, investors might come across reports in the coming days that there are hassles being in implementation, people are not ready, they have not understood. So when you are doing a good work for the first time, there is a magnitude of work is very high. So it might take some time for it to be fully, let's say, come on track. But when it comes on track, the gains will be immense, and every year it will be increasing. Primarily because the moment you apply GST, the leakage stops. So anybody business will have to pay tax. Leakages stop there and then. If you are not in the system, you will not get a credit. Finished. So, although the people who are in the business of registering themselves, it is a long haul for them. Education is one, the various forms are another. For instance, if you are a trader, currently you have to file 13 returns today.
Yeah.
12 monthly and 1 annual. But the moment you go for GST, for a particular state, your requirement of returns goes up to 39.
So paperwork
increases. But once it is set, it is on auto mode.
It mostly be
It is on auto mode.
It may be
It is
online
on,
also.
yeah. It will be on auto mode.
Right.
So what will happen is that some of the companies which will go out of business, but their business will go to the larger organizations.
Right.
So listed entities will flourish in a better manner as compared to smaller companies. So your returns for the shareholders will further increase.
Mostly, whenever we talk about GST in the open forums, people ask which are the sectors which will be benefiting due to GST coming into picture. So that type of answer maybe not in this forum. As per SEBI guidelines, we cannot talk about specific stocks in our program. However, in your reports, whenever you are coming out, kindly guide all the investors about the same.
Yeah, we do it whenever from a particular perspective when you write reports, it is mentioned. But in this, we are not naming stocks. But the fact is that at this point of time, investors should not look at what are the industries will be benefited, which are not benefited, because this is the initial scenario.
Yeah.
After the news has come in, it is already baked into the price. Now you will not benefit out of that. But what all of us will benefit is the fact that these companies, the consolidation will happen. For instance, I can also name sectors right now to our investors, is that one of the better ways to make money in the markets is to ensure that your whatever sectors that you are investing in are the sectors which also have the government attention. So either you can choose sectors and ask the government to pay attention, or you can look at what the government is paying attention to and choose sectors from them. So I think common theme, anybody who asks today is that housing for all is a theme which is going to be for this election. Maybe next elections also this could be the theme, because the problem is not going to be over as yet.
Right.
So housing for all means you paint, building material, finance companies that finance housing, and especially the smaller ones, affordable housing, they'll do well.
Okay.
And of all the things, I think the paint industry, when I looked at in various programs, I've compared the returns of 1992, Harshal Mehta, Ketan Parekh, 2000, and so on. So we have always faced that stocks that have consistently done well since 1992 are the paint companies and auto companies.
Right.
They've grown at a phenomenally good rate. They've given CAGR returns of 30% plus. What more do you want, sir, from this company? So because there is a further consolidation which needs to happen in these industries. So after GST, these industries will still get higher kind of returns.
Going to give better
Yes,
rewards
yes.
to the investors.
So I am confident that our investors will make a lot of money, and while we are not naming stocks right now, but we can do say that on a weekly basis we come out with a pick of the week. We also have a thematic reports, and at various points of time we come out with a particular target area. For instance, what to buy in the year 2018 and something like this. So we continue to buy or come out with such reports. Such reports investors can look at, study, and if it suits your profile, by all means go out and do it. And if you think that you already have a stock, you already invested, and you need to begin afresh, please do send us your portfolios. We'll have a look at it and tell you what those stocks of what you hold can be bought, can be further added to, and what can be sold.
Can we take a few questions?
Yes, sir.
So Sandeep has asked one question: is mid cap, small cap funds are advisable this year? As I hear, these funds are at peak. This is relating to the funds.
Okay, no issues. See, sir, the mid cap and the small caps, as I said here, the index is at a peak. The other indices are also at a peak. Today, while the Nifty has not closed at a peak, the Bank Nifty has closed at a peak. So these small cap and mid cap stocks can also be doing well, but they need not be. These funds need not be 100% of your portfolio. So I think by and large, 50% of your money should be in these larger funds. The rest can be in other funds. And if you are direct investors, then you can combine your own investments. You can replace them with direct equity. It's all depends on your own risk profile and your own, let's say, level of research.
Okay. One more question has come from Mr. Liladhar. He has asked about the same topic which we have kept for the same. He says why we should confidently invest at elevated levels. So I think the answer for them that the question is you have already given. But still, if you want to add a small last line.
Okay. Chalo. Okay. The basic thing is, sir, let me give them an example. The last question we'll take.
Yeah.
And this example will be slightly longer answer. The index was formed in the year 1978-79 base year, formed in 1986 with that base year. The stocks have given a return of 16.5% per annum is the CAGR return till now. But the market doesn't give you a return of 16% every year.
Correct.
Some year there may be returns, some year the index may go down. But on a given basis, on a 10-year, 15-year period, the indices do converge and, let's say, ratify their accounts with the GDP. Our GDP, let's take the normal GDP, has grown tremendously. But each year our GDP has grown, but markets have not gone up each year. The kind of CAGR returns what our GDP has seen, those kind of returns if you apply, if I just converge the index which was there in the year 2008, 6357, or let me give you a year of 2010-11 because that was the base year when the base for the GDP was changed. That from that year onwards, our GDP has grown, normal GDP has grown at the rate of 12% CAGR. So the Nifty should have been something like 11,000 now, today. And we are at a level of 9,500. So we are behind that track. So in the coming days, the markets might rise faster than our GDP. So because people will wait, the earnings will come in, FIs like India, domestic institutions will buy, and there are many investors. The fact that today people are worried, should we invest, are the ones who will invest tomorrow.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Can I have a few more minutes?
Yes, sir.
Regarding CDSL, this is our first webinar which we are doing with HDFC Bank and HDFC Securities. Let me tell you, friends, CDSL is one of the leading depository. In fact, we have got 2 depositories in our country, and India is the only country in the world wherein there is a concept of 2 depositories. So we started in the year 1999, and we have 583 depository participants who are working with us continuously across India from more than 17,000 locations. We are serving almost 1 crore and 25 lakh investors, and that too with a lot of automation and with lot of things which we have introduced in the last few years. We are very happy to be part of HDFC group, and this type of innovation we could do because of HDFC Securities, that they continuously do this type of webinars. Now normally when we do investor awareness program just to address the investor queries etc., the gathering is very small. To take the people out from their home is also difficult. But now since the market is going up, people have got more interest in the market. This is a better medium what we found, wherein they can come into the on their net or mobile and they can see us, and they can hear to the experts like Mr. Sharma. So thanks once again to him. As far as CDSL is concerned, we have introduced a lot of products I have told you, but the important things are recently the government has permitted educational degrees in demat form, which is a new development. And in fact, when we were discussing about the government which is in the center, one government with majority, that is the difference we have seen, that this government has made it happen. We were working on the project for National Academic Depository for last 5 years, but last year we got the concurrence from the central government that all the degrees that what students will get now will be in the digitalized format, and that is a new innovation. That is a new opening for the depositories. So this is the way. It's not only stocks or mutual funds which will be in the demat form.
Now there is no, let's say, liability on the part of the student to prove that he is a legitimate degree.
Yeah, there will be there were issues like fake degrees and issues like that. So those will be addressed. The verification will be very easier. The companies where they go for employment, the verification from the employer will become very easy.
Yes.
If they are going for higher education from abroad universities, also they can take the do the verifications without any hassles. And moreover, the burden on the universities also will be reduced to a great extent. In fact, we have already tied up more than 45 universities so far across India, and there is a momentum coming up in this region also. As far as mutual funds, as I told you, recent statistics which I read, 5 crore and 61 lakh unit holders are there in who have units in statement form rather. Even though SEBI has given the concurrence to convert it into mutual, the units into demat form, a lot of people are not aware about it, or rather they are not comfortable with the this type of scenario. The same thing which happened when the physical shares were initially converted into electronic form, but gradually the trend will happen, and this 5 crore 61 lakh unit holders also, if they convert their mutual funds, the overall number of demat account holders will drastically increase, and that is going to make another difference.
I would suggest that all our investors should actually go out and do it.
Yes.
It is better to have in electronic form.
Most of the DPs are offering this service, and in fact, if you do it, they can get the consulted statement wherein their shares valuations also will come in, and mutual fund NAVs also they can see just below that.
Decision making becomes easy.
Yes, and they will come to know, whatever the investment they have done in form of stocks and mutual funds will be available under one roof. So these are the few developments which are happening. And with this, I thank you once again to all our viewers of the HDFC Bank and Securities, and thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.